Hey stalking, I promise that one day I will have a video up on time.
But it is not this day!
So a couple of videos ago I mentioned that we were starting to look at houses, and I'm going to talk about that some more today because it turns out it's kind of complicated. So when we first started looking, we figured, we'd look up some listings, we'd set up some times to look at some houses, and that would be sort of how the process works. A lot of places will tell you that you should get a buyer's agent who is a real estate agent who helps you find places and, make up the offer and all that. And, when you're first going into it, it's really easy to think, why would we need to do that? Like, aren't we just looking at places and then going to see them and then deciding, it seems relatively straightforward at first. But it turns out that these sites aren't necessarily up to date, and even if they are, there could be viewings going on that you don't know about, so while you're waiting to schedule it yourself, other people are going in to look at it. And this was especially true in Madison. We would find a place and it would say on the market for 5 days, and we would email the link to our real estate agent and he would be like, yeah, that sold on Thursday. In fact, not once but twice, we had a house come off the market while we were on the way to go look at it. So it turns out it was really important to have an agent because they were able to find places for us before they showed up online, which meant we could actually go see them before other people bought them. Plus it turns out that the way commission works when you buy houses is that there's a set amount in the price if they sell with an agent that's for commission, and if the person buying it also has an agent, that commission is just split 50-50. It's not like the seller pays some and the buyer pays some. So you sign up with an agent and they start finding places for you and taking you out to them, and you look around. And we still looked around, we went to open houses, we still looked online. If we saw anything that he hadn't brought up to us, we would send it to him and see what the story was. And then we went to an open house and we found a place that we thought was really great. And there was a lot of other people there, and they all thought it was pretty great too. So that afternoon we called our agent and we said, hey, we found a place that we really like, we think we want to make an offer on it, how do we do this? And they said, alright, we'll set it up. Later that same night, we actually went back to the house, viewed it one more time with them, set all the stuff up in the offer, which it turns out is a really long, complicated document with a whole bunch of things in it that I'll get to in a minute, and we made our offer. And it turns out 4 other people also decided to make offers that same night, and our offer was not good enough. So it was back to square one, and we looked at some other places, and then we found another place that we liked enough to make an offer on. This particular place had only been on the market for, I think, 5 days. It didn't even have a sign out in front yet, and we made an offer on it that morning. So when they draw up this offer, there are a whole bunch of sections about things that have to be done before this offer is considered valid. So there's an inspection that needs to be done, and if the inspection comes up with anything terrible, we're allowed to be like, nope, not gonna do it. There's a section for financing that says if we can't come up with the money, we're not obligated to still buy the house. And then there's a section where you talk about all the things that you want included, like the refrigerator, the oven, the washer and dryer, because it turns out none of those things actually have to be included. Like, you can go look at a house and see the kitchen and be like, wow, there's really new great appliances, and then you forget to put them on the offer, and then when you get there, they're just gone. So later that day we got a call back from a real estate agent who said they made a counter offer. So they said, okay, well, here's the things that we think are okay in your offer, but we want you to do this and this instead of this and this. And we accepted. So this is the place we might live in soon. One of the things that they asked for in their counteroffer was a pre-authorization letter, which is basically just a letter from the bank that says, yes, we will give this person X amount of dollars to buy a building if they find one that is in that price range. And that's just the thing that you give them to say that you've already talked to a bank and there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get approved. It doesn't mean anything for sure, but it makes them feel better because they know they're not wasting their time with an offer that 2 months down the road you're just going to pull out of because you couldn't come up with the cash. Fortunately, we already had one of those, so that was all taken care of. Earlier this week we had the inspection, and that went pretty well. They bring a guy in and he goes around the house and he looks at stuff and he says, I think that should be fixed. I think that should be fixed. You don't have to worry about that. So then you amend your offer and you say, well, you need to fix these things that came up in the inspection, and then we'll still honor the original deal. And we did that, so now we're just waiting to hear back from them to see if they're going to decide to do all the things that they asked, or if they're going to say, no, we don't want to do those things, you suck. And then after that, all that's really left is just figuring out the bank stuff, and then we, I guess, will be homeowners? Weird. It's a really weird process because it feels like it's sort of a hurry up and wait. Like, you do this flurry of paperwork and stuff and you make the offer, and then it's like, okay, now what do we do? And they're like, you just sit around until next week, and then we'll do the inspection. Then you go to the inspection and he shows you where everything is and he shows you what's broken, and you drop another thing and you're like, alright, now what? Alright, now we wait again. But if all goes well, we should close on the house in mid-July and hopefully be able to move in shortly after. Here's some other photos of the place. I don't know why I didn't think to take video when I was in there for the inspection, but oh well. So yeah, we're kind of excited about it, and the house is actually just a quarter mile up the road from our house, so we keep walking past it and just sort of creeping on it. So I think that's it. See you guys later. Also, the Tiffios movie is really good. This isn't a book, this is just the sleeves. Someone else has the book.